welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Let's get started with Raw. Of course, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley, the new faction that was built last week on Raw, started off the show, and they basically each started saying what they were all thankful for. But let's get into the important part, which was Braun Strowman being on the Titron, about to get surgery. He basically went on to say that once he comes back from his successful surgery, he will have Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley all get these hands. And Baron Corbin refuses to cancel his TLC match. He is willing to take a forfeit against Braun Strowman. Mondo, what do you think about this?
I think it's just that Baron Corbin is trying to abuse his power, and he wants to be Raw General Manager at all costs, and this match really proves it. He's not willing to wait for Braun Strowman to get better. Like, we don't know exactly how long his injury is going to last, but that just proves to you that he's abusing his power, and he really desperately wants to be General Manager.
And we know what's at stake for him. You know, if he loses this match, he's no longer general manager, which means he doesn't have any sort of authority when it comes to Raw. And I do feel like these three guys, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley, are the new version of the authority, only because you can see it in the upcoming match as well. But they have been taking advantage of Baron Corbin's position as general manager in their matches.
Yeah, they pretty much do whatever they want at any time given that they get the opportunity.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to Elias versus Bobby Lashley. The only reason why we're getting this match is because Elias, who is now a face, decided to come out and play hero, which is what a face does, right? And so they decided to put him up against Bobby Lashley, which is 1/3 of this new faction that was built. Bobby Lashley, we've seen him over the last couple of months. I think adding Lio Rush to him was brilliant because he is doing a lot better. Obviously, we know his potential. He is one of the only powerhouses that Raw has, if not the entire WWE. And I feel like he's a super dominant force, and he plays a really huge role in this trio.
He does. Lio Rush, like you said, has been very important. Not only that, because it's improved his microphone skills, but also we've seen the results he's gotten. You know, he's gotten successful victories, and he's just all around more aggressive, and his wrestling style completely changed his game.
And we do know that he is always using power to his advantage, and we saw that with his match against Elias. And we know Elias is one of those quick wrestlers where he's not afraid to do something to give the best.
And not only that, but he's more dangerous now. Not only because he's got Lio Rush, which it could also cause a distraction, but keep in mind that he has now McIntyre, and he has Baron Corbin on his side recently that have been added to him.
Which makes him 100 times more dangerous than what he already was before, like you said. And, I mean, Elias, he's now face, but he's still one of the most over people in the entire roster. He's absolutely incredible. He is one of those people that you look at him, and he's the full package. Heel or face, he is fantastic. And he has improved so much over the last couple of months. And I feel like it's time for him to get some sort of title. I think he's at that point where he doesn't need to prove himself anymore, because I feel like he's gotten to that point where he can have a title and do fantastically well carrying it, whether it's a face or a heel.
Well, he's the full package all around. You know, he definitely deserves a title opportunity, and he needs to get a title around his waist pretty soon. I mean, like we saw in this match, like I was mentioning earlier, Lio Rush got involved, then McIntyre, you know, and then Baron Corbin.
Yeah, the reason why they got involved, though, was because Elias was finally able to capitalize, and Baron Corbin immediately caught that and was like, you know what, this will now be a no disqualification match. As soon as he saw that Elias was about to pick up the victory over Bobby Lashley, he was like, you know what, this is going to be a no DQ match. Again, abuse of power. This is why I feel like they're part of the authority now, because it's like they're using everything they can to start winning matches, and it's going to be hard to take these three down.
But, yes, but what I think is that it may come back and haunt Baron Corbin at the end. Because I'm pretty sure Stephanie's going to want him to have an actual match at TLC. So we'll see who he faces. Hopefully Braun Strowman is ready to compete. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens.
And he obviously took a beating, and Bobby Lashley, the almighty Bobby Lashley now, as they like to call him, took home the victory. All right, let's get into Dean Ambrose. He wasn't at Raw, but we did get to see him backstage or at the doctor's office as they showed that he was getting his shots because he refuses to go out to the cities without his vaccines. And he did say he was going to be at next week's Raw. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they decide to go with Seth, because as we've seen, he's only been seen in backstage segments for the last couple of weeks, except for last week when we kind of got to see a little brawl between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, since he had Seth running around all around the entire arena trying to find him.
It's very obvious that WWE wants to protect this main event at TLC just because of the caliber of the match and all the build-up it's pretty much gotten over the past couple of weeks.
It's been a really hot feud since it started. Again, I see Dean as one of those guys that if he would not have turned when he turned, there probably the heel turn probably wouldn't have been as successful, and I wouldn't have been as interested in this entire feud as I have been so far.
Yeah, it was just bad timing on his part turning heel. If he would, like you said, if he would have been somewhere down the road, he would have been a heel that you would have liked, kind of like a Becky Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like right now he's getting the hate he deserves because of when he decided to turn. You know what I mean? And Seth Rollins, we know he hasn't been 100% the last couple of weeks, which we'll get into later on in the show. But moving on to the Lucha House Party versus the Revival. This match was really, really short, but I think the Lucha House rules are really dumb because no matter who is in, if one of them gets injured or whatever, they can all come in. Obviously, they have to be tagged, but they can all come in, and it's just not fair because the numbers game really, really, gave them an advantage in this match against the Revival.
So at any point, you could pretty much have a handicap match, 3-on-2, 3-on-1, because of the Lucha House Party rules. And that's pretty much unfair, let's be honest, to everybody that they face. Because you're expecting to face two people, and now all of a sudden you face three, or if one of them gets injured or whatever, they automatically switch, which I think that's totally unfair.
Exactly. I absolutely agree with that. And the Revival, I feel like they haven't really been doing much ever since they came in, and I feel like the Revival should be at that point where they're the next contenders for the tag championships, and that hasn't happened so far, and the only opportunity they had was taken away from them by
Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, which,
Yeah, they were champions, and it was one of those things where it was like they took advantage of the opportunity. They took out the Revival, and they got their opportunity against the B team for the tag titles, and that's how they ended up winning them. But I feel like the Revival is at that point where they deserve some sort of championship, and that's the tag titles, in my opinion, or at least they should be next in line.
Definitely, they should be the next in line in the tag team division, just because of everything you said, and just the way that they got screwed. And I think out of all the teams, they've been pretty solid, and they're like an actual tag team because they came pretty much from the bottom, and they've been working together alongside ever since then.
And again, the Revival took the loss because of the Lucha House rules. I don't know. I feel like there should be a different way. I feel like the rules are kind of out of place.
They are, but again, if Baron Corbin allows this, then there's nothing you can pretty much do about it.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to Nia Jax with Tamina. Nia comes out and she basically starts saying that she's thankful for her breaking Becky's face and that she shall now be referred to as the face breaker or hashtag face breaker. And she's saying that at TLC, she is going to take back her championship that so rightfully belongs to her, is what she says. And Nia also will attempt to intimidate Ronda. Now, let's be real. When this match first happened, at Money in the Bank, we didn't get to see the full result of it because Alexa Bliss cashed in, which I believe was genius because it leaves you in a cliffhanger of like, okay, can Nia beat Ronda? Or can Ronda really beat Nia? You know what I mean? And I feel like this is going to be brilliant because as we did see, Ronda challenged Nia Jax to a match that night on Raw, and she said no.
Yeah, she pretty much backed down from the fight, but like you said, we really didn't see a winner just because of Alexa Bliss cashing in that day, but I'm pretty sure that Ronda would have pretty much came out with the victory, and we've been seeing Ronda improve ever since then. Yeah, she did come out and issue the challenge, but I feel that Nia is just trying to get into her head at this point.
Exactly, and we do know that, Nia and Tamina pretty much were having a stare down with Ronda, and then Natty comes out to try to protect Ronda from receiving any kind of, attack or anything. Now, I feel like Ronda's going to have Natty at ringside, and they're going to be together, and I feel like that gives Ronda an advantage simply because Tamina and Nia can be very, very, very dangerous together.
Yes, they definitely can. They are two of the powerhouses in the women's division. Very, very dangerous. And not only that, but Alexa seems to be running the women's division now. So they seem to be on Alexa's good side, and that's not a good thing for Ronda Rousey.
And so I don't forget, Natalya got ambushed by the Riot Squad, and then Ronda comes to the rescue, and the Riot Squad runs away. Again, the Riot Squad is the ultimate opportunists. They know exactly when to attack and how to attack. Alright, let's move on into AOP versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Tag Team Championship. Drake Maverick is brilliant. He came out and he immediately started to get into Bobby Roode's head. He took his robe, he wore it, he took it to the backstage and ended up peeing on it. Armando, what do you think about this? I thought that was brilliant because he was trying to get into his head and he was distracting Bobby Roode from the match.
Definitely, he knew that if he distracted Bobby Roode and Chad Gabriel, pretty much AOP was going to win. Just because of the result of last week where, they lost. But he was pretty smart on it. I pretty much would have done the same thing because to compete against AOP physically, they are just two of the top guys other than Braun Strowman.
Exactly. And I feel like Bobby Roode was trying so hard to not let it get to his head, but eventually due to the distraction, he lost, and therefore they lost the opportunity to the Tag Team Championships.
Keep in mind, I'm very, very impressed with Bobby Roode and Chad Gabriel at this point. I didn't think that this tag team was going to work. It was kind of like Sheamus and Cesaro at the beginning. I feel that they were just put together random and just to see what happens. And so far, they've been on the same page. They've been getting along. And it's just been working out perfectly. And then they've been getting the results.
To piggyback on that, I did tell you guys a few podcasts ago when they first started being a tag team, I told you guys I don't see them going past 2 to 3 weeks as a team, only because it was super odd. And at the very beginning, you can kind of see that Chad Gable was trying to take over Bobby Lashley's spotlight and that he was trying to outshine him. So that's the reason why I thought, hey, this tag team is definitely not going to last. But then, now I take it back.
Yeah, they seem to be working a lot better now. As weeks keep going by, then they keep on getting better. And this is a dangerous team, and don't be surprised if you see them in the Tag Team Title Championship pretty soon.
Sometime again, yeah.
Yeah, sometime again, or maybe at TLC or whatever.
And AOP is one of those tag teams that work extremely well together. We've seen them. I mean, come on. They know each other super, super well. And Drake Maverick was one of those people that we didn't think was going to be the right person to be able to take AOP to where they are today. And like I said earlier today, he is smart. He is brilliant. And I think he's doing a fantastic job so far.
Yeah, I had my doubts too. Like I said, I would have loved to see AOP get partnered with someone like Kevin Owens. But Drake Maverick is finally doing his part and helping them out and getting victories. And this week he proved it by causing a distraction and being crucial in this match.
That is 100% correct. This match was also super, super short. But AOP did come out victorious, therefore retaining the tag team championships.
And he also made a difference in the Survivor Series pay-per-view. Yeah, even though he peed himself, it was still a distraction. It was, that's what helped AOP come up with the victory.
And at the end of the day, it's the small things that count. Because he can go out and just stand there and mentor them, sure. But that doesn't guarantee a victory. If he distracts somebody from the opposite team, you're pretty much close to be getting a victory. Alright, and let's move on into Ember Moon versus Alicia Fox. Ember Moon is super dangerous, and I'll tell you guys why. Because she is one of those that you have to keep an eye on. She is a complete package. She can wrestle, she can talk on the microphone, she can do absolutely everything, and she's not afraid to showcase what she's willing to do. I just feel like she needs more time. Not opportunities necessarily, because she gets the opportunity. She's on TV every week. I just feel like she needs more time. Because this week she was in a incredibly short match.
Yeah, she definitely needs more time, and not only that, but a proper storyline. Proper storyline where it could show her full potential, which is that she already has.
And I don't know, who would you see her being her actual first opponent? Like her first actual storyline? 100%.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I feel like no matter who you put her up against, she's going to have a fantastic storyline. I mean, look at her storyline back in NXT with Asuka. It was brilliant. And being the athlete that she is, I feel like she could have a great feud with anybody.
And she's not only impressed me, but I'm pretty sure she's impressed everybody else. For me, she is my pick on winning this year's Royal Rumble. Definitely. I mean, she proved it in, the Battle Royal at Evolution. She was, I believe,
one of the last
ones with Nia Jax and Selena Vega. So, I mean, don't be surprised if she's one of the last ones or actually wins the Women's Royal Rumble.
And Alicia Fox, veteran, extremely talented. I feel like she's one of those that's always putting talent over. She is one of those who you can count on to be there and to be like, look, I have this fresh new talent that's coming in. I need you to do something with them. And whether a lot of people think that she is not talented or she is 100% talented. And you got to give her credit to where credit is due. I feel like a lot of people underappreciate her, just like they underappreciate Natty, because I feel like they take her for granted and they don't really take and give her the credit that she deserves.
Definitely, both of them play a huge role in this women's division. Not only because of what you said, but also the experience that they have in the ring. All that comes into play at the end of the day, and they're just pretty much there to mentor all the new young talent that comes up. And I mean, if they're competing with the young roster, that means that they're doing something right.
Exactly. And she is extremely talented because she dominated 90% of this match. She was not giving Ember Moon any opportunities to capitalize whatsoever. And I'm so glad she is back on TV. I am glad they are finally using her the way that she deserves to be used.
Not only that, but she's also being used in the Mixed Tag Team Challenge.
Yeah,
Mixed Tag Challenge. Which I thought it was brilliant. They could have probably partnered her with somebody else a little bit more better. But hey, at the end of the day, you got to take the opportunities that you get, and I feel she's doing a great job with Jinder Mahal. I think she's actually carrying them because she's the one that does all the talking and has been in the ring more.
Exactly.
During those matches.
She is a veteran of this group, and unfortunately, she came up short, and this is what I'm saying. She's putting new talent over because Ember Moon, she hit that eclipse, and that's when she was able to capitalize and take home the victory. And then, as she was celebrating with Kurt Hawkins, who again is going to replace her tag team partner in the Mixed Match Challenge, No Way Jose came out and started the conga line. Now, No Way Jose is one of those people we haven't seen over the last couple of months. He was put up in a match against Jinder Mahal, who we just finished talking about. But let's get into No Way Jose really, really quickly. I'm glad he's finally back on TV. Where has he been this entire time? I believe we haven't seen him since a little before WrestleMania. A little after WrestleMania is when we haven't seen him.
Last time I remember, he was feuding with
Mojo Rawley?
Mojo Rawley, that is correct. I believe that was the last time. Ever since then, he's kind of just been floating out there. Really hasn't come out on on TV on any of the Raw shows. Glad to see him back, but he still has a little bit more work to do.
Jinder Mahal, not allowing No Way Jose to capitalize. Again, he's proving himself. But let's be real here. He was one of those superstars that back then you would see with Drew McIntyre and Heath Slater, and you would be like, these guys are jobbers. They're not going to go anywhere. Look at him now. He was down in SmackDown, and he was WWE champion. Look at Drew McIntyre now. He is the full package and next in line to be Universal Champion.
Not only that, but also Heath Slater. He became tag team champion and got a huge push. So, I mean, sometimes it's good to have a change, but I feel that this change really hasn't helped Jinder Mahal in the long run. He should have stayed in SmackDown where he was getting the opportunity, where he was the face of the brand for a while. But then the change just completely messed up his career at this point.
And whether you liked him or not, he was really, really good down in SmackDown, and he's improved so much. Like, this week I saw him, he seemed extremely prepared, he seemed determined, he seemed focused, like he was ready to go, and he knew and he knows what his focus and his objective is going to be like going forward. And I'm very, very impressed that he went on his own. He didn't need any help from the Singh brothers to actually win this match. So he was able to take down No Way Jose by himself.
This is a great victory for him to get motivated. To actually get more aggressive, which we saw in this week's episode of Raw. And I think he just needs to be more aggressive and be the Jinder Mahal that he was in SmackDown.
I completely agree with that. All right, moving on to the Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge. Seth Rollins decided to bring it back. So Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler was the one that ended up answering the challenge. Again, I know everybody's going to say, like, we have already seen this match and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, this match is fantastic. These two never fail to deliver. They are one of the most, they are both of them are some of the greatest athletes that WWE has right now, and they both know each other super, super well. And every single time they have fought each other, I have been at the edge of my seat. The match, though, did start off kind of slow, and then it started picking up as we moved forward.
Definitely two of the best athletes right now in the Raw roster. They always deliver, whether it's Dolph against somebody else or same thing with Seth. They're always competing at high level, and you know that their matches are going to be top of the line.
And to be completely honest, Seth Rollins is one of those guys that right now, because of what he's going through with Dean Ambrose, he's not 100% focused. We know that. Why? Dolph Ziggler dominated 90% of this match, not allowing Seth Rollins to take any shots. And I feel like that comes from Seth not being focused, not being 100% there, because he's too focused on Dean Ambrose. I feel like he lives in fear of Ambrose is going to show up. Ambrose is going to cost me the match. Ambrose is going to do something that I'm not going to be ready for. And I feel like he has to constantly be watching his every move and his back.
Same thing with Dolph Ziggler. These past couple of weeks, we haven't seen him with McIntyre in his corner. You know, and I was very, very impressed with Dolph Ziggler because he didn't use him for the past couple of weeks. And, you know, last time they faced each other, Seth and Dolph, the one that was very crucial in the match and that got involved was McIntyre.
But getting back into, like, Dolph Ziggler, we've known he's been one of the most talented men on the roster. He's just one of those that's underutilized and underappreciated as well. Because I feel like, yeah, they throw him in some random feuds, but he doesn't really ever get the opportunity to be world champion or to even have a championship in his hands.
Definitely. He should definitely be up there getting a title opportunity, no doubt about it. His talent has proven it, and if you watch his matches, he never fails to deliver, and all his matches are great.
That is 100% true as well with Seth Rollins. That man, I believe, is at the peak of his career. He is one of those people that you saw a year ago and you'd be like, man, that guy's great. He is going to be the future. And you look at him now and you're like, I was wrong. He is absolutely amazing. He definitely is the future.
And he just keeps getting better and better after every match he has. He uses them as a learning experience and to get better. And we see that each and every single week.
All right, moving on to Alexa Bliss. She has an open forum with Bayley and Sasha. It's basically a Q&A, and somebody decides to ask the question to Bayley or to Sasha that was, what would you change from the women's division? And Sasha said, what I would change from the women's division is ship you, meaning Alexa Bliss, shipping Alexa back to SmackDown. Personally, I think Alexa is fine where she is now, but I do feel like she would play a huge role in the SmackDown division, and I feel like she could really do some things for it. But I also feel like this is her huge plan to try to take down and tear apart Sasha Banks and Bayley.
Definitely, where I see where you're going with that. You want to see her in SmackDown. It's because SmackDown really doesn't have a lot of leaders like Raw does. Raw has Sasha, Bayley,
Mickey,
Natty, and in SmackDown you really don't see that. It's really based on Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Naomi. Other than that, I'll throw Asuka there too. But other than that, she'll fit in great in SmackDown.
I mean, other than that, because I think SmackDown has fantastic talent, I just feel like with SmackDown, due to the competition that is down there, super athletic women that they have down there, a special, unique type of people that they have in SmackDown, I feel like she would fit in absolutely fantastic, and I feel like she would have some of the best matches with everybody down there. And they're all people she knows. But getting back into Sasha and Bayley, I feel like this is her perfect plan to tear down Sasha Banks and Bayley, just because she's smart. We did see she put together the best Survivor Series team between Raw and SmackDown, and this is her plan. This is part of her plan. And let's be honest, we've seen it over the last couple of weeks. She doesn't like Sasha and Bayley. Why? I don't know. Maybe because they're actually really good best friends. And, we know Alexa has everybody pretty much in her corner. She now has Nia and Tamina. She just recently added them to her side. She has the entire Riot Squad on her side. And she has Mickey and Alicia Fox on her side. So she basically has the entire women's division watching her back. And the only two that don't like Alexa are pretty much Sasha and Bayley. And I guess you can add Natty on there too if you wanted to.
She sees them as a threat for her plan, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That she has in mind. And she knows that if she doesn't have Bayley and Sasha and Natty on her side, they're going to be the rock in the shoe.
Exactly. And let's be real, even if she can get one of these women to side with her, she would have the perfect team. And like Corey Graves has said, they're going to have to choose between the wrong side of history and the right side of history. What are they going to go with? I don't know. But I do feel like this is her perfect plan, and I feel like she executed that perfectly. And we did see that there was a time during that segment where Sasha and Bayley were able to disagree. Now, that is very, very crucial, because as we've seen throughout this friendship, anything triggers both of these. So they can tear this entire friendship apart with one little simple thing. And I feel like that's what Alexa's trying to do.
Yeah, she knows that, and now that she is in charge pretty much of the Raw Women's division, she's going to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely agree with that. Alright, let's get into the main event, which was Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor. This is a match that we have seen as well. We've seen it a couple of times, not even a couple of times. We've seen it so many times now, and it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, really? We're getting this match again? But I do think that we have to give Baron Corbin credit where credit is due. He has improved so much since coming to the Raw division. I feel like in SmackDown he wasn't really being used to his full potential, and now given the opportunity of being the Raw general manager, he's able to work on his mic skills, and now he puts himself in matches against elite talent where he's able to show how good he is inside of the ring.
Even though he was the winner of the Money in the Bank, I think it was last year if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, he won the Money in the Bank this year, and he had an unsuccessful cash-in, unfortunately.
Yeah, so all that stuff brought him down. But unlike Jinder Mahal, he has had a successful transfer to Raw.
Yes, exactly. And it has been successful because of the opportunity that he was given, to watch over Raw. And I think he's doing a great job, other than the fact that he uses his power to his advantage. But it makes sense because he is a heel. He's supposed to do those things. He has improved, though, and I gotta give him credit for that. Finn Balor, I feel like, is one of the greatest in-ring performers, but I just feel like he is one of those, like I said with Alicia Fox, that's underappreciated. He deserves so much better. Put him in a proper storyline. Give that man a championship opportunity. He deserves it, even if it's the Intercontinental Championship. He would do great with it. And unfortunately, he was one of those that won the Universal Championship, was at the top of his career, and then it was suddenly taken away from him because of an injury. But ever since coming back, I think they just lost all hope on him.
Yeah, he needs a proper storyline, like we said before. But not only that, I think that also what plays a huge factor is that he's also competing against guys like Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, McIntyre, Dean Ambrose. And if you really look, those are really elite athletes. And are you really going to take time away from one guy to put another one? So he has it tough because he's really pretty much competing for time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And because of that, I feel like he would do 100% better in SmackDown Live. Because in SmackDown, it's one of those shows where you will see one superstar one week, another superstar the next. Aside from like Randy, who you see almost every week, and the WWE champion, you pretty much are alternating between everybody else. Like Andrade and Selena are not on TV every week, but you get to see Rusev when you don't get to see them. Like we saw this week, you don't get to see one superstar, but you get to see another one on SmackDown. Same thing with the tag team. Sometimes we see the Usos, sometimes we see the New Day. And the bar is always there. Why? Because there's the champs. They have to be there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like that's my point where I was trying to get at with Raw, that he has to compete with other talent, and he's just not getting that opportunity, and it's very hard to actually find a proper storyline for him. And I feel that if he wouldn't have got injured, his career in Raw and in the WWE would have been a lot better.
Exactly. But I do think it's long overdue for him to move over to the blue brand. Speaking of the blue brand, let's get into SmackDown Live, which was live from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Paige, the SmackDown general manager, opens up the show, and she immediately introduces WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, who is back. For those of you that didn't know, she did get a concussion and got her face broken by the phrase breaker, Nia Jax.
And we say broken face because that's what Nia Jax said, but she actually got a broken nose.
Exactly. And WWE referred to it as a broken face. So that's what we're going to refer to it as because that's what WWE decided to do. So Becky Lynch comes out and she calls out Charlotte Flair, which was the woman who replaced her against Ronda Rousey
at Survivor Series.
Charlotte then comes out and she basically starts throwing shots at Becky Lynch. She basically says that she wasn't trying to be Becky Lynch and that she wasn't doing this for Becky, but she was doing it for herself to prove that she is the most dominant woman in the women's division. And I feel like that couldn't be more true because let's be real for just a second. People, you can hate on Charlotte all you want, but let's be honest. There was no other woman in this roster that could have taken the fight to Ronda or that could have beaten Ronda other than Charlotte. I don't really see anybody else being able to out-wrestle, listen to what I'm saying, out-wrestle Ronda Rousey like Charlotte Flair can.
I definitely agree with you 150% on that. Nobody would be able to out-wrestle Ronda like Charlotte. And not only that, but I feel that Charlotte was trying to make a statement saying that she is the baddest woman in the women's division other than Becky. And sending a message to Becky too, like, look, if you could do this, I could do it way better.
Exactly. But let's be real, like, for storyline purposes, of course, anybody can be Ronda when it comes to storyline purposes. But if you're talking in reality, There is no possible way anybody could have beat Ronda Rousey. I feel like she was the right woman. But she also said that she was in the mindset to get things done, and she definitely did. And Becky Lynch calls Charlotte a bootleg Becky Lynch. I don't know. I feel like Becky was right there too, because if we did see they were trying to do the same turn that Becky had, they were trying to do it with Charlotte, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and I feel that Becky thinks that Charlotte's trying to steal her spotlight once again. You know, because she got involved in that and facing Ronda, so she's like, wait, you're trying to steal my spotlight again.
Exactly. And we did hear Charlotte say to Becky that she was trying to write Charlotte Flair's coattails. You see, she's throwing some pretty accurate facts out there. You know, Charlotte was on point with this promo. And, I mean, I don't know about writing her coattails, but she definitely did get really, really popular and get the best feuds she's ever had in her entire career with Charlotte Flair, and we have to be honest about that.
Yeah, and I feel part of that is because she actually worked extremely hard to be where she's at, especially this year. She hadn't been champion for what I believe 2 years, if anything.
2 years, yeah, because she was the first champion.
Yeah, and then there she just kind of like got put off to the side and just slowly started going through the roster and worked her way up, and then all of a sudden here comes Charlotte and gets the title opportunity. So I feel that Becky just wanted to be on top, and all the frustration played a huge part in just
the amount of feud that she had. And not only that, but she was also best friends with her. So that alone tells you know this person super, super well, and because you know them that well, you want to be 1,000 times better than that person.
It's pretty much a clash of egos between both of them.
Exactly. So, therefore, Paige did say we were going to get Charlotte versus Becky Lynch in a TLC match, the first ever women's TLC match for the SmackDown Tag Team for the SmackDown Championship. And then the Iconics, Mandy, Sonya Deville, and Selena, basically the entire women's heel division, comes out, and they were like, well, if Charlotte did that, we could do that too. Or any one of us, I think, deserves an opportunity because we could have done exactly what Charlotte did. So then the face side of the women's division, Naomi, Carmella, and Asuka and Lana, all come out, and they were like, well, you know what? I think we deserve the opportunity because we could have done exactly what Charlotte did or even better, and we could have actually been victorious. Whereas Charlotte, we know, just gave her a beating. So then Paige decides she's going to put them all in a battle royal, and the winner of the battle royal will be added to the TLC match between Charlotte and Becky.
Let's be realistic. The entire roster pretty much came out and said that why is that to be Charlotte getting the opportunity at the title?
Exactly. And we know it's Charlotte Flair. She gets all the opportunities left and right. But a part of that is also because, you know, of how talented she is.
Yeah, and she's big match Charlotte. She's been in all the historic matches in the women's division up until now. First ever Hell in a Cell. She wasn't in the Royal Rumble because I believe she was champion.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one was the other one that she was part of? Pretty much all of them. All the historic matches, she's been part of it. And she's pretty much won 75% of them. So she's big match Charlotte. She had to be in this huge match.
And, I mean, if you really look at all the competitors that were going to be a part of this match, which we'll talk about later, it only really makes sense for one person to win this battle royal. But as I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's get into the very first match of the night. The Usos versus The Bar. Two incredibly talented tag teams. They're both, amazing. I always have no words to describe these two because they worked extremely well together and they all know each other super, super well. We know the SmackDown tag team division is on fire right now. They're all 100%.
Yeah, definitely. The Usos just over the top. Same thing with The Bar. Another of the great tag team, but you also have to throw the New Day in there. You know, whenever these three teams compete against each other, there's always great matches. And another thing too, Cesaro and Sheamus just keep getting better and better. They were able to dominate the Usos from beginning to end. And that's very, very hard to do against the Usos.
And as you did say, they were the odd pair. When they were first thrown together down in Raw and put together as a tag team, it was kind of like, why would you put Cesaro and Sheamus together? There's no possible way this is going to work. Fast forward a year later, they have been tag champions in both brands.
Yeah, and the difference maker was that the Usos have been a tag team for a longer period of time, and they know how to survive. They know how to win matches even when they're being dominated, and they proved it this week, and they proved it last week in the Survivor Series match.
And let me tell you something about the Usos. They know each other super well. That if Jimmy is in the ring and he tags in Jay, he is not going to get mad. They do it because they know it's going to benefit them. Where they will be like, okay, he needs my help right now. I'm going to tag myself in. Why? Why am I going to tag myself in? Because he needs my help, and I know he's not going to get mad. Their egos are on point, and they know that Jay knows that he is not better than Jimmy, and Jimmy knows that he is not better than Jay. Whereas in other tag teams, they struggle with that. We saw that with Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. At first, it was like Chad would tag in Bobby, or Bobby would tag himself in, or vice versa, whatever, and you would kind of see them, hey, why did you tag yourself in? They would get into those little arguments, and that's something the Usos has an advantage of.
And it's part that they're actual brothers, and the brotherhood is what helps them be so successful. That if one wins, they both win. They're not jealous of each other. They don't let their egos get the best of them. They know that they work well together and that they've been successful.
They are one of those teams that I feel is never going to split. I feel like they are going to be together forever in their tag team career in the WWE. I don't see them ever splitting.
And I'm sure you and me could agree that the Usos, even though they're not the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, they're probably the best tag team in the entire WWE.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
Exactly. And the Bar, I know, they're fantastic. Like, I don't have words to describe them because they've always been one of those teams where, like, it's go, 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 go. And they're one of those teams that also knows how to win, too. Even though they don't have that genetic bond, they know how to win, and they know how to get the crowd interested in a match. They can have a 2-minute match, and it could be the best 2-minute match you've ever seen. All right, let's move on to AJ Styles, who basically comes out and says that for 14 days, he has not been champion. He has lost the championship to Daniel Bryan, for those of you that didn't know. AJ also wasn't medically cleared to compete at Survivor Series and last week's SmackDown, which is why he was not there. And he also said he is looking forward to beating Daniel Bryan at TLC, and Daniel Bryan was not at SmackDown Live, which is something that AJ took very personal, because when he was champion for the 371 days that he never missed a show, not a live event, not a pay-per-view, not a SmackDown Live. He didn't miss one at all, and he's saying that now Daniel Bryan, is missing the show. And something Armando and I were talking about behind the scenes was Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan, and his name. We think that if he was going to call himself the new Daniel Bryan, he should have changed his name.
Yeah, he should have changed his name to either Daniel or just simply Bryan.
Yeah, but I feel like Daniel fits the characteristic a lot better, because Bryan is one of those names where it's like, okay, you can still be nice, you're still considered a nice person type of thing, whereas Daniel is more like neutral, it's more badass, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably the fact that we're not used to seeing Daniel Bryan heel. Yeah, so it's going to take a while for us to get used to it.
Exactly. And AJ Styles was very passionate, determined, and focused as well. He knows what his objective is. He knows what he wants, which is a WWE Championship. And he's going to be facing Daniel Bryan at TLC. It's going to be very interesting. This is going to be a hard one. But I do see him maybe being an entrant at the Royal Rumble.
Definitely.
Moving on to Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev. Rusev finally getting TV time. He's one of those that has not been on TV, but like I said, Andrade and Selena don't come out on a show, they're replaced with Rusev. Rusev doesn't come out on a show, they're replaced with, I don't know, somebody else, some random person. And I feel like that's great on SmackDown's side.
And this match didn't get to start because Shinsuke Nakamura attacked Rusev right before the match started. And another thing too, I feel that Shinsuke Nakamura has kind of been held back and is not really expressing himself in the ring at full potential. I don't know if you have to agree with me on that one.
I just feel like he is not doing as much as he should be doing. He won the U.S. title, and he hasn't defended it much. I mean, I think he's only had like 2 or 3 title defenses this entire time, and he's had the championship for months now, and we've only seen him on TV for maybe like 10 days, if anything, and it's like, dude, you could do so much better. They could use you in so many different ways, but he's not being used the way he should be getting used.
Yeah, it's kind of like Finn Balor doesn't have proper storylines that are
exactly
being thrown out there for him. But I feel too that it also has to be because of AJ. I feel that the company focused too much on AJ being on SmackDown that they kind of forgot a little bit about Shinsuke Nakamura
and the rest of their champions.
Yeah. Because I felt that Shinsuke should have been the one that beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Because that was the dream match, and for me, seeing both of them wrestle, I feel that it wasn't what was expected, the quality of match.
And I feel like a part of that also came from the fact that they were guaranteed the main event, because if you really look at it from WWE rules, how it's always been, the winner of the Royal Rumble goes on to main event WrestleMania, and the main event was taken from both AJ and Shinsuke. And I do agree with you when you say I don't think they gave fully 100% what they should have in the WrestleMania match. And I do feel like part of the main event being taken away from them was part of the reason why they were like, well, you know what? We're not the main event. We're pretty much the filler match, because that's what you call the match before the main event. It's pretty much called the filler match. And to have 2 athletes like Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles be a filler match is kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's move on to Jeff Hardy celebrating his 20 years. We'll make it very, very quick. Michael Cole, he's, announcing Jeff, and then everybody, all the superstars are standing in the Titantron, well, not at the Titantron, but at the stage, and they show this amazing highlight video of his entire career, and then after that, he says that he is grateful for his career, and this is far from a retirement speech, and he said, like, let's find out together what else he's capable of and what else he can do inside the ring. And like always, Samoa Joe, who has to get in everybody's business, which is great because he gives us some of the greatest feuds. He comes out and he's basically saying that popping a bottle of champagne in front of Jeff would not be a fantastic idea. And then you kind of just see Shane trying to pull Samoa back and be like, hey, you need to go back to the back. You went too far. Cut it out.
Pretty much telling him to stop being a party pooper.
Exactly. And, he also says that he doesn't celebrate second chances and weakness, which is what he thought of Jeff Hardy at that point. And Jeff Hardy wanted a match, and Joe walked out. It was just something he was not looking forward to. So now we can pretty much say that at TLC it's going to be Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe, which is going to be another great match. This TLC card is looking to be
pretty damn awesome, especially because Jeff Hardy, we know he's extreme. He always has something new, and these are his type of matches.
Exactly. And he already pissed him off, so for a fact he's going to deliver 100%.
Jeff Hardy's going to go extreme on him.
All right, let's move on to Kofi Kingston versus The Miz. Kofi, he was giving it to Miz. Kofi is one of those that we see obviously as part of the New Day. He is, and I'm not afraid to say this, he is one of the most talented and probably the most creative member of the New Day. Not taking anything away from Xavier or Biggie, but I do feel like he's the one behind, the creativeness when it comes to the moves and the way they do things, because he always has something new to the table, whether he's having a singles match or whether he's in a tag team match. He is always giving 100%.
And not only that, but he proves that every single year in the Royal Rumble, with creative ways of not getting eliminated. And I mean, that's just awesome, and that's what everybody wants to see. I know that's what I want to see, creativity in the ring, and definitely Kofi Kingston always has creativity in the ring, which is awesome.
He always does, and I feel like he's been getting used super, super well in the New Day. I feel like they really take turns being even. Like, in some matches you get to see Biggie and Xavier, and in some you get to see Kofi and Xavier, and some you get to see Biggie and Xavier. They all alternate, they all take turns.
Yeah, I mean, and they proved it pretty much when they were tag team champions. You'll have Big E be Kofi's partner, and then next week it'll be Big E being Xavier's partner, and then the following week we'll have Kofi and Xavier. So they all pretty much rotate each other.
And to get back, to emphasize a little more on that, when Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston won the tag team titles, who was walking around carrying the tag team titles? Biggie. Biggie wasn't even in the match. He didn't even win the tag team title, and he would walk around wearing it. And The Miz, he is one of those superstars that is absolutely incredible. He knows how to get the crowd reaction, but he's also improved so much to where he was a couple of years ago. I feel like ever since 2016, when Maurice came back and was with him, we saw the new side of The Miz. And he's one of those that you just can't hate. He is an incredible heel, but I'm a big fan of Miz because it's like everything that he does up until this point is like, wow.
Definitely, his in-ring skills are great, and not only that, but his mic skills. He's always relevant and is willing to put everybody over.
And not only that, but I like that he's open to new things. Like, recently we saw him trying to fly. This week we saw him using submission to try to take down Kofi Kingston, which is smart because he knows that it's speed versus power. And he was trying to use that against Kofi Kingston.
Definitely not afraid of trying new things, and you just can't hate The Miz. You just can't. And me and you have talked about it. He is long overdue to be the next
champion,
WWE champion.
I definitely agree on that, and I think at this point it was a 3-on-1 number advantage against The Miz. He was unable to capitalize on that, and he did lose. So I do want to see him get that title opportunity that he has deserved. All right, let's get into Randy Orton with Mysterio's mask. This wasn't a match, but we'll get into it very, very quickly. He basically comes out and he was not trying to disrespect Rey, but he was trying to embarrass him when last week he took off his mask and left him maskless. Another Randy victim and another victim of the RKO. And Rey Mysterio had enough, so he comes out and Randy immediately attacks. Randy does not give him any sort of opportunity. And Rey, so far, he was taking it to Randy Orton, and then Randy Orton was able to capitalize. And we know how that goes. He absolutely dominated, took out Rey Mysterio. The new Randy Orton is a very dangerous predator. He is not somebody you want to mess with. He doesn't play around. He is at that point of his career where he is like, you're either with me or against me. You're with me. I'm going to still betray you, and I'm going to still take advantage of you, but I will prove to everybody why I'm the legend killer.
Yeah, and he's slowly making a statement, and he's just working his way down the roster through each and every single superstar, and he picked Rey Mysterio this time. We saw that the last time was Jeff Hardy. So this is more aggressive Randy Orton, and I'm excited because I actually like this Randy Orton.
Same thing here. I absolutely agree with that. All right, let's get into what was the main event. The Women's Battle Royal. The winner gets added to the TLC match. Everyone immediately attacking each other. Zelina Vega was the first to be eliminated. I feel like Lana made a huge mistake by eliminating Zelina Vega. As we do know, Zelina is one of those superstars where you mess with her, she will give it back to you 10 times harder. And I feel like Lana just got herself into something really messy, man.
Definitely have to agree with you on that one. And especially, you know how Latinas are. they get all crazy when they get all mad. So she's gonna go ham on Lana for sure.
She's gonna get these hands from Selena, and we saw that right after she got eliminated. Selena started attacking Lana. So don't be surprised if we see Rusev and Andrade in a feud in the near future. The Iconics were eliminated by Asuka. I mean, are you really surprised that the Iconics were eliminated by Asuka? No, not really. Carmella, I think she did pretty good in here. She was taking it to Asuka. I mean, she kicked her right in the face. And Carmella also really, really good in this Battle Royal. And then she got eliminated right after for showing off. See, that's why you can never be too cocky.
Yeah. And then Mandy and Sonya pretty much formed an
An
alliance and started working together to try to eliminate women.
And super proud of those two because they were the last four standing. It was Mandy, Sonya, Naomi, and Asuka. And it goes to show how far Mandy and Sonya Deville have come, especially after what I'm about to say. Naomi and Mandy both get eliminated. So at the very end, Sonya Deville is left by herself with Asuka, and she gave that woman a fight. She proved why she deserves to be one of the top stars in the women's division, and we saw that when she faced Charlotte. We saw that when she's been getting, some of the opportunities that she's been getting lately.
Sonya Deville is that type that you have to give her the opportunity, but you have to take her slowly. One match at a time, not completely. Just give her the opportunity random. She's just going to have to work for it slowly, and eventually she's going to get to the top, and I think she's going to be one of those stars that we really have to keep an eye out on.
Definitely. And as we do know, Asuka is going to be added to the first ever women's TLC match. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Asuka at TLC. Who do you got?
I got Asuka on this one.
Now, keep in mind, these predictions might change as we get closer to the pay-per-view, but I gotta agree on that one. I think Asuka is taking it, and I still stick with my gut that Charlotte Flair is winning the 2019 Royal Rumble in Phoenix, Arizona.
This has the potential to be, if anything, match of the year. Just because you have three of the best women wrestlers in the WWE up to date.
If not in the world, man.
In the world, yeah. But, I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what's going to happen. Should be the match that's going to probably steal the show at TLC. No doubt about it.
And keep in mind, you do have, like you said, the best talent in the WWE. But you also have to keep in mind the type of stipulation that they're getting. So add that on top of the athletic athletes that you have.
Think about it. You have Charlotte that made a statement against Ronda and what she did to Ronda. Now, Becky Lynch went out and pretty much challenged the entire Raw roster, And Asuka, she's just only lost, if anything, 2 matches in the WWE, being on the main roster. So, I mean, it has all the ingredients to be the match of the night, like I said.
Absolutely agree, and I am absolutely excited because Armando and I get to witness history. We get to witness this match at TLC. If you don't have the WWE Network, go ahead and get that so that you can catch us at TLC. And not only that, but catch this fantastic match at TLC.
Let us know who do you guys think is going to win at TLC.
Comment below. Let us know. But that's all we have for you guys on this week of Wrestling with Siblings. Sorry for the late upload. We were having some technical difficulties, but it seems like we got them resolved. We did have to record, so please pardon, for the delay. Also, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let everybody know to become a sibling today. We are doing this every single week for you guys. And, of course, before we head out for today, for those of you that don't know what WWS stands for, Armando, what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Once again, thank you guys so much.
See you guys next week on a brand new episode.